Outfits and around the
The best ways to increase your Canadian PR chances is to go for certificate of qualifications, because this can give you a certificate of qualification, also known as qualification certificate, is an official document issued by a Canadian province or a territory. It verifies that you're certified to work in a specific skill trade. Earning a certificate of qualification can significantly benefit your application for Canadian permanent residency. It can add up to 50 additional points to your expeditionary profile, enhancing your chances of receiving an invitation to apply for PR. To obtain a certificate of qualification in Canada, the relevant provincial, territorial, or federal authority will evaluate your training, work experience, and skills to determine if you're eligible to take the certification exam. Each province and territory has unique requirements for different trades, so it is highly recommended that you visit the official website of the authority in the.
So we give the real change state, we give the real inversion, we give the real feedback for this thing if I'm not wrong. So 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 my entry would be here. So if I want to enter, I will enter here at this level here. Sorry. Stop loss would be here at this window. Target would be here. On shoot. Let me see how it's gonna work. Yes. The whole thing is just the first leg, bro. The whole thing is just for the swings. The whole thing is the first leg. As soon as it's got this low, which get we give this. You can see we give this like the displacement. Let's go all the way up. When you give the change displacement, change the state, everything has been happened. So we can put the stop at this point. We can test the trade to play out towards the target for sure because the whole thing is just the first leg, right? The whole move is just to rebalance this. So like goes up, holding, drops down, wait to see this to take. Taken, these two has been taken. If this break and displace created a fair that's hold and push lower, then it's going to be the draw. So obviously it's getting swept here. And we get a big displacement to the upside and we get the change the state ability. Even though if I'm not entering here, I can wait for the price to come back for this swing at least to the 50% which is aligned with this gap. So I can enter here, put a stop at this low, expecting the price to trade higher towards this range, which is 20 to 2. That's phenomenal for my brother. Let me see. So trading compound, here trading compound. Oh, oh. Limit buy, Icon, limit buy, Icon. So I don't know what it is. Let's just put it here. Limit buy, Icon. Let me see if it's before this take this high. If it's hit this, I'm good. If it's take this high and then drops low, I don't like it. Benjamin വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടോ? Use it. Use it, Benjamin. Oh, yeah. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Benjamin. Like I said, Benjamin, Tanja, music, small person, the picture, damn. Then you hear it.
Like a partial. W Lumi chat. Did they like my luggage bin? Yeah, we good. Very well.
Oh, really? What do they say?
They're called helmet pool.
Helmet boy?
Do I have a limbo? No, I'm actually, funny enough, putting a bid on a Urus, but I don't have one. So am I going like that? Good deal. Yes, sir, Ron. I'm searching for the library opening. For me, for my study, extend all the way to the dynamic. Still be high probability.
Yeah, for sure.
You do want
I haven't put any on news, honestly, so I like it here.
it's very interesting actually. The way the market reverses, again, I'm speaking on my opinions, is first starts to settle suits, then goes to market structure shift, then it goes to IOF. Those are it. First is the initial draw on liquidity, right? And then it's the shifting structure, and then later on, this will potentially go for IOF. So I look for power creep, manipulation, distribution, and if I miss a total soup, I look for market structure shift, right value gap. It's not last legs. I need to find IOF in a premium shorts. I use levels as well. Yeah, I feel sick. Guys, Lumi's in long. When I was with Lumi, all she did was she was just trading on her phone. It was so funny.
Go,
R&D stuff.
I expect the price to go higher. Okay, got it. I think this whole thing is just doing first like manipulation. So I'm just waiting for the 5 hour gap to fill.
Yeah, we are retracing to the regular trading hour opening gap. So that could also explain why. Yeah, I think this bullish movement is expected right now, but I don't think that is bias. I'm pretty strong on short. What do you think about Portland Theory by Terry Day? Day actually lives 20 minutes from me. I've never studied it.
And then let me see, brother. If it's fucked me up, that could also get fucked up. I think it's 9 coins. Could be 3 same idea, same plan. Pilot it for 3. Let me see how it's gonna happen. Not gonna touch anything. Just be right. I'm not gonna touch anything. If it stopped me out, that one got blown. It's blown. I don't care about that. If it works, it works because it's A plus model formula. It should work. If it's not, it is what it is.
If you guys look at the high on the 1 hour chart, you see that the 1 hour fair value gap actually. That's kind of where I want to see price action go to before we look.
If you look at what's happening between Washington and Ottawa right now, it doesn't look like a negotiation. It doesn't look like a spat between neighbors. It looks like a controlled demolition of 70 years of North America. Not with missiles, not with soldiers.
Still, it's doesn't make any sense. So it's fucking starting out. Some days it's gonna blow it up.
Two nations, one machine, seamless, efficient, invisible. But as of this week, Canada picked up a pen and started rewriting the blueprint. And the White House didn't see it coming until the ink was already dry. Donald Trump called Canada's military contributions participation trophies. He questioned the value of 457 Canadian casualties across Allied operations. He treated America's closest ally like an adversary and assumed Ottawa would fold. Mark Carney's response wasn't a press conference. It wasn't a tweet. It was a strategy. While Trump was raging at rallies, Carney was on encrypted calls with Brussels, Munich, and Tokyo. What Canada signed, announced, and activated in the past 72 hours is going to reshape the architecture of the Western world for a generation. The shockwaves are already moving through defense markets, energy negotiations, and diplomatic channels. And most of the media is still talking about the insults instead of the restructuring. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what just happened, why Washington never saw it coming, and why the world you're living in today looks fundamentally different from the one you woke up in a week ago. But first, think about this. If your most reliable business partner kept undermining your credibility, threatening to tear up your contracts and calling your work worthless, how long before you quietly started building relationships with their competitors? Hold that thought, because that is exactly what Canada just did. And they didn't just threaten it, they executed it. Drop your answer in the comments. Is Canada protecting itself? Or is this a dangerous gamble that could destabilize the entire Western alliance? Let's rewind the clock to understand how we got here, because this didn't start last week. It started in Davos in late January 2026. Trump stood before global leaders and called Canada's military contributions participation trophies. He questioned the value of shared sacrifice going back to World War I. He treated the nation that literally shares the longest undefended border in human history like a freeloading tenant. The insult wasn't just political rhetoric, it was a miscalculation, because the man sitting on the other side of that insult wasn't a traditional politician who would call an emergency press conference and demand an apology. Carney is a former central banker who ran the Bank of England through the 2008 financial crisis. He doesn't do outrage, he does positioning. And the moment Trump delivered that insult, Carney activated contingencies that had been quietly building since the day he took office. Here's what actually happened in the past 72 hours. 3 moves, 3 receipts, and each one hit Washington like a different kind of freight train. Receipt number 1, the Euro Group. On February 16th, Swap Champagne sat down at a Euro Group working dinner in Brussels. Stop right there. The Euro Group is the meeting of Eurozone finance ministers, the inner circle of European economic governance. Canada is not in the Eurozone. Canada is not in the European Union. Non-European finance minister has just at that table as a strategic partner. Is your one hit Washington like a different kind of freight train? Receipt number 1, the Euro Group. On February 16th, Canada's finance minister, François-Philippe Champagne, sat down at a Euro Group working dinner in Brussels. Now stop right there. The Euro Group is the meeting of Eurozone finance ministers, the inner circle of European economic governance. Canada is not in the Eurozone. Canada is not in the European Union. No non-European finance minister has ever been invited to sit at that table as a strategic partner. Until now. The Eurogroup president, Greece's Kyriakos Pyrakakis, personally extended the invitation. The official purpose was to develop common commitments on economic security and global financial stability. But read between those lines. Economic security in diplomatic language means one thing right now. How do we reduce dependence on a partner we can no longer trust? Europe looked at Washington and saw chaos. They looked at Ottawa and saw a G7 democracy with rule of law, free trade agreements, and a finance minister who speaks their language. Within 90 minutes of the Eurogroup session opening, currency markets moved. The signal was received. Washington wasn't in the room. And that silence was deafening. Receipt number 2, the SAFE program. On February 15th at the Munich Security Conference, Canada's Defense Minister, David McGuinty, signed on to the European Union's 150 billion euro Security Action for Europe program. This is the EU's flagship defense rearmament initiative. The program specifically designed to wean Europe off dependence on American military supply chains. Canada just became the first non-European country in history to join it. Canadian defense companies can now partner with European peers to bid on joint projects and access preferential financing worth hundreds of millions of euros. Think about what that means. Canada, America's closest military ally, the country that shares NORAD, shares intelligence, shares everything, just joined a defense program explicitly built to reduce reliance on the United States. The agreement was built on the security and defense partnership Carney signed with the European Union in Brussels last June. He had been laying this groundwork for months while Washington was busy posting about participation trophies. Carney was building the markets, while Trump was building the grievance. That's the difference between tactics and strategy. Receipt number 3, Munich. Canada also signed a military-industrial memorandum with Denmark and a joint declaration with Germany on artificial intelligence and technology sovereignty. A declaration with Germany on AI sovereignty signed in Munich without American input. If you understand what that means, you already see the tremor that Washington is feeling. Whoever sets the standards for artificial intelligence and digital trade controls the architecture of the next industrial revolution. Canada and Germany just started writing those standards together. Carney had been scheduled to personally oversee every one of these signings and meet with the leaders of Greenland, Denmark, Ukraine, Germany, Spain, Finland, Norway, and the European Union, plus a delegation of US senators, before a tragic mass shooting in British Columbia forced him to cancel and return home. He canceled his own historic diplomatic moment to go home. That is a prime minister who understands that governing is about people, not optics. The deals got signed anyway, and the world took note. So why is all of this happening right now? Because Trump's strategy has a fatal structural flaw that he has never understood. His entire playbook relies on isolation. He needs every target to believe they are alone. He told Canada, you are alone against the American economy. He told Europe, you are alone against Russia. He told Australia, you are alone against China. The moment he pushes too hard, those isolated targets stop looking at him and start looking at each other. Trump escalated tariffs on Canadian steel. Brussels. Trump questioned NATO. Europe started building SAFE. Trump threatened to annex Greenland. Denmark started coordinating Ottawa. Every single time Trump swings the stick, he does not get obedience. He gets fragmentation. He is assembling the exact coalition he feared most. A network in his anger and decided to move forward. One Canadian security expert called Carney's Davos speech a call to action for middle powers to stop trying to mollify a bully and forge their own future. That call is being answered in real time. If this story is connecting dots you haven't seen assembled anywhere else, you're already ahead of 90% of the people watching this situation unfold. But the most consequential chapter is still ahead. The submarine decision, the fighter jet review, and the critical minerals play that could permanently shift resource power away from Washington. Hit subscribe right now. This is moving faster than any single outlet can track, and you need to be here when the next piece drops. Now let's talk about the man running this operation, because what Carney is doing deserves to be understood clearly. Most leaders, when attacked by a US president, get defensive. They wave the flag, give angry speeches, try to look tough for the home. Carney did none of that. He went to work. He understands something fundamental about modern power. It is no longer about who has the biggest aircraft carriers. It is about who controls critical resources, who writes the rules of trade, and who builds the systems that others depend on. While Trump obsesses over tariffs, a 19th century economic weapon, Carney is constructing a 21st century network. He signed a defense partnership with the EU. He joined the SAFE program. He sent his finance minister to the Eurogroup. He signed an AI declaration with Germany. He has Canada in discussions to sell liquefied natural gas to Asia Pacific targets. He is reviewing 35 fighter jet contracts worth billions to American defense contractors. He is holding competitive bids between a German submarine manufacturer and a South Korean firm for Canada's next submarine fleet. Each of these moves sends a message Washington cannot ignore. Canada has options, and Canada is exercising them. You do not fight a bully by matching his aggression. Fight him by making him irrelevant. Carney is not fighting Trump. He is routing around him. Here is the part that should keep Washington up. The Canada-EU Security and Defense Partnership signed in June 2025, which formed the legal foundation for everything signed in Munich this week, isn't just a document. It is the skeleton of an alternative Western architecture, one that includes Canada, the European Union, Germany, Denmark, potentially the UK, all coordinating on defense procurement, AI standards, digital trade, and critical minerals without routing those decisions through Washington. Canada controls vast reserves, lithium, cobalt, uranium, and rare earth elements, the materials you need for electric vehicles, missiles, and the entire infrastructure of the future. By deepening these European partnerships, Carney is telling the global market that if you want the raw materials to build tomorrow, you come to this table. And Washington does not set the price. So what does this mean for you, wherever you are watching from? If you live in the United States, this restructuring has a cost that will reach your daily life. Defense contracts that used to go to American firms are now being bid out to European and Asian competitors. Jet contracts worth billions, submarine deals worth more billions, is reviewing all of them. Supply chains built on the assumption of seamless Canada-US integration are being stress tested. And the longer this hostility continues, the more permanent those alternative routes become. Once a company restructures its supply chain around a new partner, it does not restructure back when the political climate improves. The jobs, the contracts, the economic activity, they follow the new routes and they don't come back. If you work in defense manufacturing, in energy, in tech, these are not abstract geopolitical developments. These are structural changes to the markets that pay your salary. Here is the hard truth that Washington needs to hear. Carney did not want to spend his first year as prime minister redesigning Canada's strategic partnerships. He wanted to govern a country. But Trump's hostility, his tariffs, his insults, his threats, they left Carney no choice. And here is what makes Carney genuinely dangerous as an adversary. He is not emotional about it. He is not doing this out of pride or anger. He is doing it because the map demands it. And when a former central banker decides the map demands a structural realignment, he does not half measure it. He builds it to last. 3 scenarios are now in play, and none of them return us to the world of 3 weeks ago. The most likely path: corporate America eventually breaks. Defense contractors who watch Canadian submarine and fighter jet contracts go to European and Korean competitors start lobbying Washington hard. Energy companies who realize Canadian LNG is being routed to Asian markets instead of American refineries. States. Supply chains, structure, making Trump. He needs straight first and often. The European and new partnerships stay in place. Canada has diversified. That diversification is permanent. The relationship resets, but it never returns. The second scenario, the domino. Canada's success at the Eurogroup and in Munich inspires other middle powers to move faster. Australia, which has already hosted Carney for a parliamentary address in March, deepens its coordination. The UK, watching Canada access the SAFE program and the Eurogroup, accelerates its own reintegration with European defense structures. Japan and South Korea, which are competing to supply Canada's submarines, deepen resource and technology partnerships across the Pacific. The network Carney is building becomes self-reinforcing. Every new node makes the whole structure stronger. And Washington finds itself in a world where it is still the largest single economy, but no longer the axis around which the Western order rotates. The third scenario, escalation. Trump retaliates against the SAFE agreement. He threatens to pull intelligence sharing from Five Eyes. He pressures NATO allies to choose between Washington and the Canada-EU framework. This is the scenario nobody threats to annex.
My initial is for the that's what we're connected. Just
Relationship between the United States and Canada will never be the same. Even if Trump leaves office tomorrow, even if his successor calls Carney on day one, the lesson has been learned. Canada cannot put all its strategic eggs in one basket. Canada has options. Canada is exercising them. And once a country builds those alternative relationships, once those partnerships have legal frameworks and defense agreements and Eurogroup invitations behind them, they do not disappear when the political climate changes. They become the new normal. Carney didn't start this fight. He didn't want this fight, but he is proving to be extraordinarily good at it. Not because he is aggressive, because he is patient, precise, and operating on a time horizon that Trump cannot comprehend. Trump is looking at the next rally. Carney is looking at the next decade. And right now, the next decade is being built in Brussels, in Munich, in Canberra, everywhere except Washington. The question you have to sit with is this. Did Mark Carney dismantle American strategic dominance over the Western alliance? Or did Donald Trump do that himself? And Carney is simply picking up the pieces and building something new. Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And subscribe, because the next chapter, the submarine decision, the F-35 review, the LNG pivot to Asia, is coming fast. This story is not slowing down. Don't look away. This content is commentary and analysis for informational purposes only. It does not constitute. If you are reading this right now, you are watching something that has never happened before in the history of North America. Not in 100 years. Not ever. I am not talking about a tariff. I am not talking about a tweet. I am talking about the complete, formal, and irreversible removal of Canada from America's closest circle of trust. As of 11:47 a.m. Eastern Time this Tuesday, the United States government has officially terminated the framework of the Canada-U.S. Joint Economic Compact, a quiet but iron-strong agreement that has kept supply chains, energy pipelines, and financial systems on both sides of the border running like clockwork for over 4 decades. Donald Trump didn't just pick a fight with Canada. He cut the road. He burned the bridge. And what came back from Ottawa in the next 3 hours is going to change every assumption you had about how the world works. Because Canada didn't beg. Canada didn't call. Canada
Still, I
opened the
believe the
door.
market going to
Without
go
a plan
higher.
that nobody-
Since I'm not going to enter, but I'm not going to enter. I'm just watching it.
Inside. Because Russia, not because of China. It's a decision made by those that just want to be top. States completely exposed.
Okay, that's so. This would be my entry, brothers. There is no point. There is no thinking of this. This would be my second entry. So I expect this entry to play out for sure. So this is my second entry. Same idea. You can say it as another soup. And I don't like to see any price. It is got. If it's not happened, then pretty much. So the whole idea is it's just a for this rally, for this break, it's kind of a first leg. As soon as it's swept this low, as soon as I get this tiny bit of inversions, I'm trust myself to expect this is the draw for today. This and this will be the draw. Okay. So we got to change the state as well. So I expect the price to pull back this. So as soon as we reach this spot, we enter my limit order here and put the stop at this level. Expecting this fair value gap to hold. Beautifully, it's holding the price and inverting this gap. That's a very good signature for me, but it's unfortunately what happened. Uh, Goes up and drops down one more time. So you can clearly see the sweep of this low, and we can get this inversion. Beautiful inversion with this fair value gap. This also seems phenomenally good, but it instantly got inversed. What does it mean? I just shit for it. If this trade is this part, I'm out. I'm not gonna put the stop at that part, but I will put my stop at this part. So if it reaches that spot, then the entry also failed. So I should accept the loss.
This is not a political spat. This is the moment the post-World War II order cracked open. And the crack started right here, right now.
Yes, not playing good. Didn't reach my stop loss. It was great. The patient should play those. No one. Grab. It's not sounds so good, right? It's not something so good. Yeah, it's a clean marketing advice model, but there's no point like you that target open, drop slower, pull back to this gap, big speed, we get the change the state, we get the big displacement. We leave this high open, we drop down to this gap. So we entered here with the stop at this low. Trade higher, better take this highs. Instead feed this low, inversion again, fair value gap again. So I expect the price to reach this, and this place before it goes lower. That's my plan. Overall, let me see. But I lost almost so badly, brother. Hereafter, I don't want to enter because I only have $87 left to trade. So I just want to circle the executions. So this is one execution. This is one execution. This is not executed at all. I just want to put some different color. And this is where I first execution should be here. Beautiful execution. This is nice. I really love this execution. Nice execution. Then it's so since it's inverted, I entered my trade here. I think if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So I closed my position and I entered a short and it started me out again. And again I entered my position here. It started out. And then I entered a change the state here. Expect the price to dump to this part. Again it started me out. And then I entered like fucking hell, right? Propose a park take property. Change the state, pull back, you can enter here, put the stop with this low. Did it come? No. Drops lower, see this internal liquidity. We got this inversion, boom, holding, break, inversion. So we can expect the price to take this high and reach this spot. And if this get inverted, we can expect the price to go higher and higher. That's it. That's my plan. Let me see. That's now it's the volume gets kicked in. Going towards my direction. Let's see. Can't do anything, but the reason why I go what kind of things I should do avoid that for this one. I should avoid this. I should avoid this. I should avoid this. I should avoid this. This is pretty cool and good. This is pretty cool and good. And these three should be avoided. Or else wait for something like wait for the firewall gap to create and it gets tapped. Or else wait for this candle to close above. Should be the good priority. By this time, it's already moved to a certain extent, brother. If I wait for that inversion, it's already moved. This is the target, right? So I should avoid this kind of thing. But by the time it's take this low and displace higher and break this structure, flip this value. So I can have the so at least I can enter here. So if I enter with this inversion and put the stop with this, it might get stopped out and I can rejoin this at this spot or at this spot. I can rejoin this and put stop with the high low and target that same thing. So how to do that? I don't know. I don't know. Anything. ஹலோ. சொல்லுமா, என்ன பண்ற? நல்லாருக்கேன், நல்லாருக்கேன். என்ன பண்ற? ம். சிக்கன் சமைச்சிட்டுருக்கியா? சாப்பிட்டேன்மா. நீ சாப்பிட்டியா? ம். ம்ஹ்ஹ்ஹ்ம். ஆ, இன்னைக்கு வேலைதாம்மா, போணும்மா இப்ப கொஞ்ச நேரத்துல. 1 மணி இப்ப ஆயிடுச்சு. சாப்பாடு சமைச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன். சாப்பிட்டுட்டு பண்ணிட்டு போணும். ஆ. ம். கரண்ட் போய்ட்டாளா? ம். ம்ஹ்ஹ்ஹ்ம். ம். 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 ம்ஹ்ம். அம்மா இருந்துச்சு. அம்மாவ சொல்லி அனுப்பிவிட சொன்னாங்க. அனுப்பிவிடுவாங்க.